What's going on? How's it going, sir? How are you?
Yeah, pull me up live when I'm reading my phone because I'm an idiot.
that was perfect. You're right there. That was you couldn't be any better right there. It's been a week or so since we last talked to each other. I took a little what is it? It would be a siesta, a little break over in South Carolina. Enjoy myself down there. Got to watch a lot of racing though, still. So I didn't go too far out of the loop.
I'm glad to see you survived. I mean, I don't know what we would have done without having our favorite host around.
Right? Yeah. Woo. We got
because let's be honest. With me now doing baseball on Sunday, nobody wants to see me twice hosting a show.
We're keeping, like I said, no, that's what I was gonna say. A huge congrats to you there. What a first show. Congrats on that. Tell them a little bit what you got going on Sundays now.
Yeah. So for those that are watching that are baseball fans, Sundays 11 a.m. Me and two of my closest friends, Tim and John, doing baseball just a bit outside. So come check it out. We got some cool stuff lined up. I've been working on the show for the last hour or so before we got on here. So hopefully everybody likes it. Everybody tunes in. And we thank everybody for your support, not only here, but over there as well.
Absolutely. It's going to be a good one. I was always a baseball fan myself. I had a little softball practice here. I'm a little assistant coach here for my daughter's softball team. It gets me right into it. It makes me want to get right back onto the field. Because I'll tell you, that was one of my loves when I was younger, more so than racing, honestly. A little quick tidbit is Dad sat me down one night. He said, I know you like racing. You're good at baseball. It's the same season here, but you got to pick. Like, we can't juggle a race season and baseball at the same time. And I went for baseball. I was a catcher. I could get him off the second base from my knees, but I'll tell you what, nothing ever went of that. Nothing ever went of racing either, so I wasn't a stud at either of them. I just like watching them. I was a great couch, what do they call that? Couch QB or couch pitcher, whatever you want to, couch catcher. I was a catcher, so yeah, we'll call it a couch catcher. That's what I am now. So, but no, that's fantastic. There, we got a little coverage of the AAA Pirates affiliate, so it'll be nice. I always like to say from the races to the bases with Tommy Boy there, so you can use that one. Feel free to use that.
You know what? I'm gonna make sure I trademark that for him. Like.
You like it, don't you? It's good. It's good.
Copyright perfect from Tommy Boy. From the races to the bases. Welcome to Just a Bit Outside.
Exactly. I love it. We got a bunch of stuff to cover this week. Is NASCAR is hot and heavy. Not only do we got NASCAR going on, we've got IndyCar this week action at Long Beach, and we've got some fun going on as well at F1 as they are invading the home of a lot of people's favorite driver, Daniel Ricciardo. They're in Melbourne, Australia, so should be a great one to watch there. It's Saturday. People don't like to wake up and watch F1 races, and I'll tell you what, this is your chance. This is your time. You can take the glory here because it's a race that starts at 1 a.m. on what I call Saturday night. Many people call it obviously Sunday morning. But I don't know. I'm pumped up for a little different time. Not having to wake up at 7:30 to watch an F1 race.
Well, so I don't know about you, but the fact that they changed that Australian Grand Prix course since the last time that they were there kind of makes it worth wanting to stay up and watch.
Right? Exactly. Yeah. So you can't go out and party too hard on Saturday night because there's a race there you got to watch. So it's going to be an interesting one. We'll walk right into that. We'll say I haven't seen any spider on the track. We got a spider on the track. Yeah, that would be something. You'd have a virtual safety car because one of those huge, humongous spiders is out there. I hate those things. When Keegan and Matt send us pictures of those things, it's like, nope, no thank you.
I was going to say, if we see a spider on the track, it more than likely came from one of them two anyways. So.
Right. I think Matt's lucky enough to be there. he's going to the race this weekend. So that, Matt, if you're listening, enjoy yourself. Have yourself a good time because it's going to be fun. But let's hop right into that. Kind of a little different season than we would expect in F1, as it's not. If we look down at our rankings, what they were, I don't think we necessarily thought some of that midfield we had a little wrong so far. You gave Bottas praise. I didn't think it was going to happen. I got to give you credit there. Because Valtteri Bottas, if it's not for that, I don't know if it was an engine failure. I don't know exactly what happened there at the last one. But if it's not for that DNF, I mean, he was riding in seventh place, maybe eighth place when that happened. So got to give Valtteri Bottas credit. And what's even better is he's starting in front of Lewis Hamilton in that race. So it's like, oh, you're starting right next to Lewis Hamilton. That's cool. It's kind of like the old days, except you got 9 cars in front of you now. So I thought that was pretty neat.
Yeah, and we were on the same page when it came to Magnussen too. About we figured he'd be good, but
Yeah.
I gotta give you credit though because you had him up pretty high. You had him up higher than what I did, so I'll give you credit on that one too. But yeah, I think Bottas could actually be. He could get a podium this year, the way he's looking so far early on. If that Alpha can just stay in one piece, he's looking mighty fine.
Especially because it does seem like reliability is going to become somewhat of an issue. It might be like the early 2000s F1 where everybody's wondering, man, is this engine going to last? Is this going to make it through? Because we've seen the Red Bulls. They've had their issues in their first one. That was the big one out of that. The first race, Red Bull, I think 3 out of the 4. Boom, didn't finish it. Now we see who was this would have been Ferrari with the Alpha team there with Bottas, McLaren, or it wasn't McLaren. I'm sorry, Alpine. So that's a Renault. We're seeing some different ones there coming out and failing here. So it's interesting to see, like I said, if reliability is going to be an issue this year. What do you think? I mean, are you seeing the same thing I am? Are you seeing that reliability is really going to be the big thing? And I think everybody thought Ferrari nailed that, but now might be stepping back a bit after that the Alpha DNF.
Yeah, I can see a little bit of a reliability issue going on for Red Bull, but I think once they start trying to make, I don't want to say modifications, but they make those changes throughout the season, I think we might see a little difference. I mean, I want to say that Verstappen's struggles in the first race with his back and forth with Leclerc was a fluke. And then Sergio with his spin and then having the issue after that was a fluke. So I think they'll get it put back together. But I'm kind of curious to see what kind of modifications F1's going to allow them to get to. Because, I mean, they're pretty much regulating it as is. So it's going to be kind of interesting to see who tries what and how much is going to get snuck by and how much is going to be allowed.
So Mercedes is going to be the first one. I saw a article today that they are upgrading their car already. They're already using some of their tokens, or I don't know exactly how that all works. But they're going for that back wing, and you kind of see like a U-shaped top part of that back wing, and they're going to try to kind of emulate, if you will, more of what the Red Bull is, from what I've seen. Excuse me, from what people are saying. So it's going to be interesting to see, because obviously Mercedes has missed on these throws here, and I think people are loving this right now. Mercedes not on top, and Lewis struggling a bit.
Who do you think makes the first move at trying to modify either the belly pan of the car or the pods on the side of the car because of the issues with the porpoising or whatever?
I'm wondering if Mercedes is going to end up trying to switch back from those that zero side pod or that no side pod thing to what they had at the first series of testing that we saw. That wasn't live actually, but we saw pictures, and it'd be interesting to see if possibly they, because at this point they've missed. They threw the dart, they missed, and I think a lot of that has to do with Red Bull going in the off season. And I think I saw something today where Horner and Helmut Marko came out and said that they grabbed at least 50 guys from the Mercedes team last year in engineering. That's going over. That's we'll make a little baseball analogy. That's the Yankees. That's the Yankees right there. You just went
You're
out
not wrong.
and farmed everybody you possibly could. Said, hey, man, we're going to pay you. We're going to be good, but we need you to come out here. So I think putting a lot of eggs into that basket, but obviously that's what worked. They knew that was going to be something that would be able to work and be able to be something that would flow. So the Red Bull, I can't say is terribly wrong with that decision at the moment. So I don't know. It's interesting to watch as this all unfolds, but I think everybody is really enjoying Mercedes not being part of the top dogs anymore right now.
So I just want to tell you, when you were going on your little talk there, my partner in crime back here was whining at you and barking at you, so he does not agree with your opinion.
No, not at all, huh?
No. I mean, I agree with you, though, because like, we've had some good talks about this over, even in the offseason before we started doing the show, we talked a lot about how F1 was going to be and stuff, and I think whoever is the one who's willing to take the biggest risk when it comes to making changes, and I think is going to be the one that's going to succeed the most at the end of the year. But again, it's how much is F1 going to let them go with? Because like as soon as somebody makes a big swing, the rest of the teams are going to catch up to them and do the same thing. Like Haas, is Haas going to do anything because they didn't do anything last year because they were waiting for the new car? Like we don't know.
I think they were putting so much of their eggs into this year's basket. They were already putting together, and they've said a few guys have come out. Coulthard, Ralph Schumacher came out. These older guys, and man, Haas has really got one of the best cars out there right now. So it's really interesting just to see how much change you can really see within a year. And that's what I really find good and what I find pure about this right now is the change in regulations. Because what you have 8 years with the hybrid era of the Mercedes dominance there. And throughout that time, like I just said, I was completely dominated by the Mercedes team. So now it's a new era. People are trying different things. And that's where you see, I think, the more innovation in racing, and it helps. It's weird to say that innovation in F1 is going to help NASCAR, but at the end of the day, it does. They see something that they're able to use. They see something they're able to transfer over, whether it be what we saw with NASCAR, maybe changing up a little bit of the pit stop. I'm not saying they learned that from F1, but Joe Gibbs this weekend, not to go off too big, but how they changed up that whole pit stop there to try to save a little time. It's those little things like that people take from a sport or another and are able to adapt them into theirs. And I think F1 is I'm not going to say the top dog, but year in year out they're probably the most innovative, obviously because of the money that they're able to spend.
So let me ask you though, because since we're on the topic of Haas. Do you think the fact that Haas is now technically a Ferrari alliance is why they're better? Because look at how good Ferrari has been the first two races so far.
Well, they were before. They've always been running that Ferrari package and stuff like that.
Well, right, I get that, but I'm talking about for this year though, since they're technically a Ferrari alliance and how good Ferrari themselves are this year.
Oh, okay.
Do you think that's a big part as to why Haas is even better this year than they have been in the past?
I think the power unit definitely does have some what's the word I'm trying to something to do with it, obviously, because they have that overall speed that they weren't necessarily able to grab that last year. But I do think a big part of it as well is you see the fact that they didn't spend $1 outside of what Mazepin gave them to build that new car for Nikita on last year's car. So they were putting all their eggs, so that $1 million, $2 million, whatever it was from Mazepin that he was paying, and that that they did get that year out of sponsorship, that went into this year's car. So it's interesting to see. Now, I guess the question would be, can they keep up with this? They started out hot. They started good. But mid-season, is Haas still going to have a P7, a P6 car? I think that might be the better question.
Yeah, I think Australia, like I told you in our preview show with Scott, I thought third race would be the race to determine who the best team is because it's a new track. design and new car. So I think this is the weekend where we'll find out who's actually really, really good and who's really, really bad. I mean, if you're 3 races in at this point, and then you're getting ready to get into the stretch where you go into Monaco, and Monaco's always been a tough race because of how wide the cars are, so passing is very limited, and this is going to be the type of race where I don't see, if you don't pass here, that's just going to show you once you get to Monaco, you're going to struggle from there on out. So I still stand by that from when we did our preview show. I think the third week is a real determining factor for them.
And that's what you say, the new layout, 4 DRS zones. And when we talk 4 DRS zones, let's go to that situation with Max Verstappen and Charles Leclerc. As they go into a DRS zone, Leclerc doesn't want to give up, Leclerc wants to give Max the position there so he gets DRS and is able to shoot back around. Max, on the other hand, doesn't want to take the position. So it looks like the old Canadian standoff. No, you go. No, you go. No, you go. No, you go. And these two are just sitting there as they're locking up their tires at this point, going into that turn. Neither of them want the front. And then finally Leclerc says, I gotta go. I'm going to try to take this and make a quick exit to get a gap and hopefully overcome this DRS here. But I think that was the deciding factor in that race, and it made it very interesting. I think it's going to be fun to watch. But my question that I'm going to ask here is this where F1 can look over at IndyCar and maybe see and make a little change to the rules, the regulations as far as DRS? Let's say no DRS. Let's go to push to pass. You don't have DRS zones. You don't have anything like that. You don't have guys giving up a position just so they get DRS in the next round. They can all they're all on that same level playing field with a little additional horsepower for 15, 20 seconds, however long that be. But for, I think it's like 200 and some seconds total. So whether it be DRS, push to pass, I think I think I'd be happy with push to pass in F1. It doesn't look like you're completely agreeing with me on that one.
So I like to push to pass for IndyCar because it is I would say a smaller car, but the style tracks, even for the road courses they race on, is completely different than what IndyCar does or what F1 does. So you're talking about so we'll use Monaco for example, and with how the cars have changed so much over the years, passing there is hard. So what is the point of having a push to pass if you're not going to be able to pass? There's maybe 2 or 3 legit passing zones at Monaco.
It's like Belle Isle.
Okay, but again, you're talking about Formula One's a little bit of a wider car than what IndyCar is, though.
Right.
So where is the push to pass really going to be effective?
Essentially, your DRS zones. But the reason I say that is then so these guys aren't sitting there and giving up a position. So, or I guess at the end, because DRS is judged like a little bit back behind the actual zone. So you could actually be toe-to-toe or even nose ahead in the DRS zone, and you get DRS. So it's interesting. I think it just needs to either come down to, like I said, I like the push-to-pass idea, but maybe even whoever crosses that DRS zone in second, behind that person, if you're within that 1 second, you get it. There's no entry DRS. There's nothing like that, like a zone where you go to give it to you. I think that's where you're seeing these guys kind of bagging up. No, you go. No, you go. No, you go. And that's not something you're typically seeing in racing. I thought that kind of had everybody's head just like, huh? Like, that lost puppy look.
Yeah, I mean, I personally think like if you're gonna do the push to pass, you're better off keeping DRS. But instead of it being within 1 second of the car in front of you, just allow DRS the entire time. Because it would be essentially the same thing as a push to pass.
And I'm okay with something like that. Like I said, it's just the whole you go. That was kind of weird to see. But it's a new era, and I'm really liking how F1 is racing right now. I think it's going to be a great weekend to watch here in Melbourne, and I'm excited for that. That is for sure. Do you have any quick picks here? I guess your quick pick right now. We'll make an official post for the Checkers and Wreckers picks of the week. But for a winner in Melbourne, do you think Ferrari or Red Bull's going to top it, or do you think we're going to see somebody else on top of the board?
Oof. Well, I'm going to be a homer. I think Max will probably win Melbourne, but I think you're going to see the top three be Max, Leclerc, and Sainz again. I still think we're going to see Mercedes struggle a little bit as they learn this car a little bit more, but I think it's going to be because Max's talent's going to show, and then the strength of Ferrari is going to show on this new style track with the 4 DRS zones. I think it's going to be Max and then Leclerc and Sainz as my podium.
I think that's going to be a very typical podium for the year, honestly. It seems like that is going to be a pretty get used to seeing that one. That's all I can say there. That it seems like it's going to be the could be the regular here throughout the season.
Yeah, and you know what? I'll even go one further, and I'll even say I got a dark horse pick, and it's going to sound really crazy, but I think this would be a type of race where George Russell could actually show up for Mercedes and possibly spoil that party up front. So.
And that's the thing. I mean, he's sitting right outside of that podium. He's right there. He's ready to make it, but that car just it's leaps and bounds behind the other one. So it is going to be interesting to see with small modifications that Mercedes brings. Can they bring it to the table? And I think you might have a point there. We'll see. I think George Russell honestly is going to hop on the podium before Lewis Hamilton does.
I'll go with that.
So, again, it'll be interesting to see, and I'm excited. So we look forward to it. We move forward to some IndyCar action. Long Beach. This is one of my favorite tracks for IndyCar. I really like Long Beach. I really like it on iRacing. I'm a big fan. What's your take on Long Beach?
It's definitely unique of a track. I mean, it's like I think there's gonna be a lot of passing when it comes to a street course. It's something you don't normally see on a street course. Is it gets strung out and not too much passing? But I think we're gonna see a lot of that here. And it's a small track too. I don't think people realize it's less than 2 miles big for a street course. So I can't wait. I think it's gonna be one of the best races of the year, to be honest.
Yeah, I always look forward to this one. This is a solid track. I love going around the fountain. I love watching those guys just make those moves around there. It's a very technical track. It's I think those 2-3 street courses that IndyCar has really puts the competition out there and it really pushes these guys to the limits. And that car, it doesn't seem like it's an easy car to jockey around these street courses. So it gives these guys so much more credit on what they're doing there. So definitely looking forward to that. And seeing what they can do. They haven't been really racing, so not too much to touch on as far as IndyCar goes. But maybe a quick pick there in IndyCar for the weekend here at Long Beach.
Oh man, that might be tough because we don't really have much to go off of for the IndyCar. The obvious pick for me would be Colton Herta because he's been strong on all the road courses over the last year or so. But I think our defending champ, Alex Palou, is probably going to be the favorite. I'll even go one further for that and say Scott McLaughlin is going to struggle. He is going to struggle. Okay. Not because of car or anything. I just think he's just going to struggle. Something's going to happen, like a bad pit stop, because you can only be on a high for so long. I think something's going to happen where they're going to have a bad pit stop, and it's going to pin him, and he's just going to struggle for the rest of the race.
Well, and that's what I think. When Penske's on a high, it seems like you can't get him off that high in IndyCar. So I got to go with Scotty. I think Scotty's going to take that. We've seen 2 Penske winners. But if I don't go with Scott, I got to agree with you. I think Alex Palou, it's going to be another good race, I think, with those two right on each other's tail. I don't see Andretti really working theirself up. We got Grosjean that could have very good success there. You got... like you said, Herta, and then you got Rossi, who all of these guys could really perform well there. I just don't think they're going to have the car. I just don't think Andretti, honestly, this year is on it like they have been in the past. And it seems, you can be really pulling off some of your big hitters now, as Rossi is on a contract year. You got Herta that just signed that McLaren test deal in F1. So you know they're talking to each other. You know those conversations are at least being had there when it comes to IndyCar. So it's going to be interesting to see how Andretti really pulls himself out of this slump they've been having.
And you know what? The one thing we didn't really, I mean, obviously we haven't really talked about it much, but the two names that we really didn't talk about that are sitting right there from Penske is Will Power and Newgarden. Will Power is sitting second in points right behind McLaughlin. So this is a type of race where Will Power can come out if he goes out and sets the pole, because you know he's very capable of setting the pole. He's done it in the
100%. Yeah, I mean,
if he sets the pole, right there's a guy that he's going to be hard to pass. He's going to be a hard guy to beat. And even with Newgarden, you put Newgarden up front, he's fast. So it's nothing against McLaughlin. I just think there's a lot of factors right now that, like, I don't think Penske wants to see all of his guys, I wouldn't say struggle, but not be running up front every single time they hit the track. So I think this is the type of race where you see McLaughlin kind of take that step back, and you'll see a guy like a Will Power or Newgarden be the face of Penske for one race, and then it opens a door for a Palou or a Colton Herta to capitalize and win or podium
Newgarden's
or however.
coming off a win at Texas. So, I mean, granted that's an oval, but still, like I said, coming off that win, Kyle thinks Jimmy Johnson's going to take it, given huge high hopes. And when I say high, I mean like high on crack, high on meth, high on something. I don't know what. I do got to give Jimmy credit on the Texas. Hey, we talked about that before, but man, Kyle sent me a video. It was somebody like recording all Jimmy's passes. Got to give him credit there. That was a pretty good way around there. Yeah, high on life. That's what all the drug addicts say, bud. That's what all the druggies say there. High on life.
Well, get benefit of the doubt though. Up until Texas, Long Beach was Jimmy's best finish in IndyCar at 17th. So
there you go. There you go, Kyle. He's looking for a top 15 this week. Looking for a top 15 for Jimmy Johnson and that Ganassi crew.
You know, we can joke, though, but I'll tell you what, if he does get a top 15, that is actually a success for him for how much he has really struggled on the road courses. I think if a top 15 comes in Jimmy's way, and I don't think he's going to complain, but I think we can look at it overall as like, hey, you know what, that's kind of successful for him for something completely, I wouldn't say new now, because this is his second year doing road courses, but I think that's it's a good way to look at it is, hey, you know what, you got a top 15 now on a road course, you're improving, and that's kind of what we want to see with him.
He's like the Jeffersons. He's moving on up.
Maybe not to the east side. He can stay on that west side of the country.
There you go. But anything else IndyCar-wise you want to touch on?
Other than I need to start watching the races? No.
Hey, that's all good. You got me for open wheel. I'm the open wheel master out here. Let's move a little to dirt here because I didn't get to watch the Bristol. I was away. I'm one of these guys here, Kenny. I'm talking to you, Kenny Wallace. I know you're watching. That he was out there. He was giving everybody a hard time. He said, everybody praises Bristol last year. They come out here. They show up in groves. We're having a party. It's a great time. This year, he says there's 12 people in the stands.
Yeah.
What's the issue? Well, I mean, Kenny, why didn't you run there? Why didn't you race there? I get like saying that, but and he's giving these guys, he's giving fans a hard time. He's saying they're not going to their local tracks, and I don't think they're not necessarily going to their local tracks, but they're not spending the money to go to Bristol again. They've been there. They've done that. It was fun. But move it around. It's not Eldora. It's not Knoxville. So I don't know. What's your opinion on that? You're more into dirt than I am.
So just from the two different races at Williams Grove I've been to, okay? So Williams Grove's season opener, packed house, dude. I'm talking asses to elbows. You couldn't even hardly move. Standing room only type of event.
Right.
You go to the next race and it's completely dead. It lost its luster because it went from, it was the opener to whatever. But this is also a fact of you can now watch these races from the comfort of your house. And you, with not knowing what the weather is going to be like, is it worth spending the money to go to these races? I think that's part of why Bristol lost its luster a little bit for the Dirt Nationals, is because, like, okay, so I went and saw it in person. Now I kind of just want to sit at home where I can, like, drink beer, not worry about getting in trouble, not getting, caught drinking and driving, and I can watch it from the comfort of my home and not have to worry about Joe Schmo over there causing shenanigans for me and getting me in trouble. So I think that's kind of the point that Kenny was getting at, was like, there wasn't a lot of people there because a lot of people were watching it from home. And this is how dirt tracks close. People don't come to the races. Now, obviously, Bristol's not going to close because it's not a legit dirt track, but dirt tracks close because people don't come and support it. So I think that's what the big thing is like, support your local dirt track or you're not going to see it happen again.
But that's the thing, though. Like, I feel like guys are out there. They are supporting their local dirt track. But what it is they're not supporting Bristol. They're not going to make that 8-hour drive to see that win. Flo puts it on fantastic. Or who does the supers? Is that Dirt?
Well, it depends. So this was on... So Dirt Vision usually has the World of Outlaw late models. But this wasn't on Dirt Vision. This was on a different platform that you had to... pay for, subscribe for, just so you could have this race. It was more like a pay-per-view event. So,
okay,
but it was still cheaper. I don't know what tickets would have been for that race. I didn't even look. You say your average ticket price for each night was $30. You're looking at almost $100 in tickets when you could rent it probably for like,
or you have camping plus your travel.
Yeah, but the price of how the prices are nowadays, it was almost cheaper for you just to stay home and watch it. So, I don't think people didn't want to support the race. I think there was just a lot of factors that led into people not going there. I think we might see a packed house for when the Outlaws return there because it's sprint cars and the track has changed and people are going to want to see what that race is like. And obviously the NASCAR race is going to be a packed house too because it's new car on dirt. Everybody's looking forward to that. I just think there was a lot of things that factored into people not supporting it. And with it being on TV, I think a lot of people were like, hey, you know what? I'll just save money and I'll just rent it and go from there.
And I'm with you there because, like I said, it's a hard deal for myself to, if I wanted to, being in Indianapolis, to drive to Bristol. Granted, it's an 8.5, 9-hour drive. It's very doable, but at the same time, that's a $400 endeavor when you could rent it for, or like you're saying, order it online for tops $90. What?
Yeah, I mean, I couldn't tell you. I didn't obviously rent it or watch it because I had no desire to do either. So,
and I mean, I think that's also it too. Guys would rather watch the guys. Dirt is I think a more you got your World of Outlaws. You got those big events. You got the Chili Bowl. But I think guys like going to their local dirt tracks. It's not so much because when I went to Lawrenceburg. And granted, it was Indiana Sprint Week, so that might draw more people. Lawrenceburg might not be popping like it was that night every night, but still, guys like to see these guys day in, day out. Now, granted, I was there for a big event, but there's still a lot of guys I talk to out there that, I'm here every weekend. This is a great track. They're telling you about the track. They're telling you about the drivers that are out there. I think the dirt community really enjoys their local drivers, their local tracks like that. So I don't know if that's a good one to really judge like that. But at the end of the day, it's the same eye that we are looking at with Texas, the Texas race with IndyCar is, man, there's just not a lot of people in the stands. And if you're going to go out there, you're going to at the end of the day, you're going to put your life on the line. Tony Kanaan said it back in the day. I hope I'm going to do it for more people than what there is here, because this ain't very alluring, I guess. But granted, like he was getting upset about the money. These guys are getting paid from the Flow Sports, the Dirt TVs, things like that. Yeah, they might be, but that's a one-time gig. They do need to have those oncoming expenses paid, everything like that. They got to sell tickets throughout the week. But like I said, I do believe in the dirt community from what I've seen as far as like when it comes to the fans that enjoy the racing. And I think they, like you could tell me everybody that has ran at Williams Grove.
I wouldn't go that far.
For the most part, I mean, you're going to be like the guy at the guy that knows the whole rotation. I mean, you know these guys. You've seen them. You could say, hey, on last Tuesday, Mike Smith, he put a heater down. He was too hot to trot, but then they switched this track up a bit, and it's different. These guys, they know that. It's like it's its own little niche, if you will.
I mean, I am called the source for a reason, but
exactly.
Let's not put it too far in there. But so a little bit about the whole Dirt Nationals. I don't know how much you saw, but it was like I think it was $50,000 to win each feature for the super late models, and the overall champion took $100,000. So you could essentially win one race in the overall championship, like Chris Madden did, and win $150,000, and that covers your expenses for a while.
Right? Oh yeah.
And last year was invite only. I don't know if this year was invite only, but you're talking about a track that is pretty rough on equipment.
Right.
And I'll tell you, like last year, I didn't go last year to the Outlaws because it scared me. Because you're talking about a big track with a lot of speed. Like you're talking, do you want to go there? And the reality is, you might see somebody get hurt or even worse. Do you want to see that in person? And I think that was on a lot of people's minds too. Is what happens if we see that big wreck, that nasty wreck? This is gonna leave a stain on this sport because you're at a NASCAR track and you're doing this. If it was Eldora is gonna be a packed house. If it was, Williams Grove, it's a packed house. Knoxville's a packed house because it's the prestige of those tracks. The fact that it's at a NASCAR track, I think, is just it's meh, whatever. But you put it on maybe like Martinsville. Put dirt on Martinsville, you might see a packed house the first year, but then after that's just like, it's Martinsville, it's a NASCAR track. We don't care. Put it back to a dirt track. We're dirt track fans. We want to see a legit dirt track.
And I agree with you. I think you're right there, and that's what I think is. It's the same thing with the Coliseum with NASCAR. It was packed this year. It was a good deal, but next year, is the allure still going to be there? Is that, like you said, that feeling of being new, that honeymoon phase, is that feeling still gonna be bubbling in us? You know, are we still gonna really want it? And I think what do you think here? I think the real test, if you will, for dirt fans compared, because dirt fans, it seems like dirt fans hate NASCAR fans. They hate them. Like if you're not always, but you got that guy that's in the dirt. He's drinking his beer. F NASCAR. You know what I'm saying? But what do you think? Do you think the Bristol NASCAR race brings in loads of people? And now, obviously, you're gonna bring in more. You are gonna bring in more being NASCAR, in my opinion. But does it bring in an excessive amount more? Does it put those butts in the seat like they did last year with the World of Outlaws and stuff?
Okay, so my opinion on this, 10 years ago or more, you're talking F NASCAR, F dirt racing if you're on each side of the fence.
Right.
But now that we have guys like Kyle Larson who do both and succeed in both, I think both are gaining the fans from the other sport. And I think it's great for racing overall because everybody wants to see, okay, Kyle Larson, sprint car driver running NASCAR, or NASCAR driver Kyle Larson running a sprint car. I think so. 10 years ago, we wouldn't be having this discussion. It'd be F NASCAR, F dirt racing, and that's it. But now we have that unity because of guys like Kyle Larson. So I don't really think you see it. You're still going to have your couple diehards, and that's just the way it's going to be, and you're not going to change them. But I don't think there's much of a difference between the two anymore.
Fair enough. But do you think NASCAR brings in that allure the second year here?
I think with the new car it does. I mean, again, you're still talking
you do
about
have something new, I guess. Yeah.
But you're still talking about the guy, like, again, Kyle Larson on dirt, Christopher Bell on dirt, Chase Briscoe on dirt. It still has that allure. You still want to see, can our normal dirt guys run this race? We talk about for road courses for NASCAR, you got these road ringers that come in, like Boris said, and Scott Pruitt back in the day. You watch because you want, AJ, you want to see them, how good they do on those tracks.
Yep.
So now it still has that allure. is the dirt guys able to hold up to the expectation and win in the big leagues on dirt? So I still think the NASCAR race is going to hold the allure. Will it be as packed? I don't know. I can't tell you that. But with it being a Sunday night, I think that changes a lot of things too.
Yeah, and 100% there. Yeah, I could definitely see what you're saying there. So, you said you got something that you want to throw into the mix here. What you got?
Yeah. So I'm going to hold something up.
Uh-oh.
Okay. Hold on.
Do kids need to leave the room?
No. You see that?
Hey, look at you win. What'd you win?
No, I got that. However, there is a lot of controversy with them right now.
A lot of Hoosier tire controversy. Let's hear it.
So, based on a local, I would say, warehouse, it's called Racers New and Used Parts Warehouse. It's ran by Danny and Billy Dietrich, who run 410 sprint cars. They got a nice little email. It said, "We have bad news. We received an email this morning that no one wants to read from Hoosier. Effective immediately, Hoosier has announced another price increase."
Ooh.
For basically a set of rear tires that like the sprint cars would use, you're talking $600 for sprint car tires.
Hello.
Now, the Outlaws just ran down at Devil's Bowl Speedway, Texas. Brent Marks, local boy from around here, won. And he crossed out on the wing the words Hoosier because all these tracks have these deals with Hoosier, but Hoosier's not paying the drivers. They're just basically they're having the luxury of bringing the tires to the track. So it was a kind of an FU to Hoosier, like, hey, you're not paying my bills, so
right.
I'm not announcing you as being a part of my team as I win because I'm paying $600 to be able to run my car every race with you. So
I agree with him. And I'd love to see, because I mean, you say $600. I'm assuming they were like 4 before, something like that. So, and I'd love to see, because the set of I know at least I believe it's the Firestones that we run, but or Bridgestones. So yeah, same thing. But the tires for the go-karts, about $250 a set, and Hoosier has some go-kart tires. So I'd love to see what those are up to nowadays. That's part of the reason I don't run too often anymore.
Yeah. See, so this brings up a question. I'm going to ask you because you're a racing fan. You don't have to be a dirt fan, but let's just say now you have this controversy with Hoosier. Now, you had the controversy back when Goodyear had to deal with all flat tires, but the racing was great. If you were a fan, or you as a fan, or you as a track promoter, or you as a driver, would you want to see a tire rule be lifted so you can run any tire that you want? It doesn't matter.
I like open market, and I think a lot of the reason, at least the reason a lot of people want to say it, is because liability, because of insurance, stuff like that. They choose a tire and they stick with that tire. They don't make it an open, because if something was to happen with something that they don't have, you could have issues. But
well, no, at least around here, it's not a liability thing. It's a thing of, hey, you know what?
Contract.
We're paying. Yeah, it's a contract. We're paying you as Hoosier with the Outlaws or Williams Grove Speedway or whatever to be your tire supplier, and that's all there is to it. Like, so we'll show up at your track, and your drivers have to buy our tires, and that's what it is. If I saw a lot of people talking about it, they would open a tire rule. So a lot of people want to see American Racer. The supply and demand for American Racer tires would be so incredible that they won't even have tires for a couple of years. And Goodyear stopped making dirt tires because of the issue that they had years ago with the Outlaws. So they're kind of at a standstill of, hey, do we pay $600 for these tires and just not even mention that Hoosier's part of this, or bite the bullet and just deal with it? So
I think you open it up. That's what I love, and I get, like I said, having your set, the contract, things like that. Open up the doors, let these guys come in, and again, because like we were talking with Brent Larson, at this point, with the supplies being a little lower too, guys are they're opening up at least like how you're cutting them. and how you're treading them and stuff like that. So guys are able to make little different patterns that they haven't done before to see, hey, does this work? Does this not? You know what I'm saying there? So why not at this point open it up? If there's a time that you're gonna open it up, I think right now is the time. See how it works. See how it goes, because you've got these supply chain issues. You've got issues like that, not to get too deep into other things, but it's there. You've got the issues of expensive gas for these guys. So not only now are they putting out that money on tires, they're paying outside of last year at least $3-4 a gallon extra from what they were. So hopefully some of those guys had a few extra fuel tanks that they filled up before with a little stable in it, something like that, from last year. It's like gold right now. But that's I hate to say it, but I think this year you're really going to see a lot of people kind of bow out of racing because of that.
Well, so the other thing too that involves around this is like, it seems like every traveling series has their own set of rules when it comes to tires. So like the Outlaws, you can pretty much change your right rear tire as often as you want without a penalty. The All-Stars, I believe, whatever tire you qualify on for time trials in your heat, you have to run for the A main. So you're limiting on how many tires you can use in that series. And then you have tracks that say, hey, you know what? If you want to change your tire every single time you come out on track, go for it. I think that's what's causing some of these prices to go up. I think this is what's going to hurt the local racing scene. But yeah, I'm with you. I think the open tire rule would be great, and you wouldn't have to worry about that. But you can't open it right now. You can't get the tires in because of the supply chain issue. So you're stuck with this Hoosier deal, and I wouldn't be shocked if we start seeing more guys do what Brent Marks did and just put the line through the Hoosier tire logo and just be done and over with it.
And that's going to be unfortunate because, like you said, it's going to run people away. They're not going to have any option. They're not going to be able to afford it. So, an unfortunate thing, but people like to race. They love to do what they do. They'll find a way around that tire issue, no doubt about it. You know what I've done? There's a dumpster at the back of the track where people throw their used tires, and there's good drivers that will toss a set of what I consider pretty new tires out, and I grab them pretty new tires. So
they do that around here. Guys will just leave their tires lay in the pits. If you want them, you can come take them.
Grab them, baby. That's what I say.
If you as a fan want them, take them. I mean, it's not going to hurt you, but I think we're going to see the biggest issue is not so much like your big teams, like your outlaw teams will be fine. I think it's going to be these small mom and pop owned teams that are struggling every week. And that's the teams I feel bad for because they're just out there to have fun and now they can't even have the fun.
Exactly. Yep. You're 100% correct there. So it'll be interesting to see how they work around that. See if maybe Goodyear does step up. They say, hey, this is our time. This is our chance to make the rake in the money Hoosier has been. So yeah, you never know. You would assume somebody there would be able to figure that issue out.
Well, so my question though is with this issue they have on the dirt side, Hoosier has their hands in asphalt series too. How much is this going to affect their asphalt side of things now too? Because I'm sure the prices on that side are going to go up as well.
Yeah, you got to make it somewhere. You're going to get it back. It's not just a one deal thing. Obviously, I hate to say it, but the cost of everything right now is going up, and maybe rubber is more than what I thought. The metal in them, I don't know.
I mean, we're just two guys on a podcast. We don't know anything.
I look forward to seeing what the solution is though, because it's not going to be fun. Like I said, it'd be a shame to see these smaller teams that really have the potential to do something to make something work and really achieve their dream, their goal, and for something like this to be a huge setback. Because like I said, across the board, unfortunately, it seems like racing this season, you got to be a doctor.
Listen, I saw talk of people saying that our local tracks are just going to run big shows and that's it. And I about cried when I read that. I'm like, no. What am I going to do on Fridays and Saturdays throughout the year? There's there's like 3 seasons in Pennsylvania. You got dirt track season, you got winter, and you got post-winter pre-dirt track season. So
Absolutely, yep. I look forward to it, but man, yeah, it's a shame stuff like that is pulling people or will pull people away. So yeah, a good week of racing here. IMSA at Long Beach too, so a double header with IMSA and IndyCar. So that'll be interesting to watch. Obviously, like I said, F1 kicking off on Saturday, and then you got NASCAR out at Martinsville. A little bit of short track action out there, so that'll be fun to watch. You got anything else to add for the week?
other than I'm looking forward to the Martinsville race, not really.
Yeah, this new car in the Martinsville, that should be fun to see.
Maybe we can convince Kyle to come on after Martinsville next week and see what his opinion is of everything, because we all know we love Kyle Westwood's opinion on everything.
I wouldn't go that far, but I think we could get him on here, talk a little bit of NASCAR after Martinsville. It should be a fun one. He's actually going to Martinsville, so what a great person to chat with next week. We'll see if we can't do that.
Ask him how many Martinsville hot dogs he ate.
He's young, dude. I'm gonna be honest. Because I went to Martinsville last year, and I know people are gonna damn me for this. They're just okay. They're not bad, but they're not fantastic either. There's a lot of red one. There's a lot of red dye in that thing. There's a lot of red dye in that thing. I don't like a red hot dog necessarily. It looks. See, Kyle's yelling at me. I knew it would happen, but I like my brown or my tan hot dog, I guess. Call me a hot dogist.
All natural.
No, I don't like a beef hot dog. I want asses and elbows and eyeballs and everything like that in my hot dog. But like I want just like a normal colored, like the color of my skin. That I want it to be a little darker than the color of my skin. So red kind of threw me off. I saw that. I was like, what are we doing here, fellas? Why we got to crack it with dye? I don't get it. I don't get it. And it is what it is. It was okay. Out of a 10, I'm going to rate it a 6.5. I'll give it a 6.5.
You know what? I'll challenge Kyle to have 5 or more hot dogs.
I don't want video. I don't want video of that. I think this is where we got to cut it off here. This is where we're getting too deep. We're getting too deep. Dalton's getting excited, and we can't do this anymore. Thank you guys so much for tuning in here to Checkers and Wreckers this week. Matt, thank you so much. It was another fun one. And tune in Sunday at 11 a.m. as Matt. You're going to get him just a bit outside, right?
Yeah, you know what? People are going to ask what that reference is if you've never seen the Major League movies with Bob Uecker. Just a bit outside.
Absolutely. I knew exactly what you were. Wild thing! I'd love to be the Quaid version of that if they ever did a remake. I think I'd do a great job. I think I could pull that. I think I could do that. Thank you guys so